Hi guys, this is Pete and this is my point of view on the game from today, Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 3. Today we're just going to go through my thoughts on the game. I've got a man and match poll and also got thoughts from some of you guys off Twitter, and also go through my match ratings. So first we're going to go through the man and match poll. This was obviously a difficult one to kind of put out there and get people to vote on because the performance wasn't great. So the 4 people I put out there as candidates for man of the match, who I thought were our best players, who kind of at least showed a little bit of backbone and spirit at least, were David De Gea, Luke Shaw, Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez. So we'll get into the results. I think the polls had like 30 odd votes on it up to now. It's still ongoing even while this video's recording, but I didn't set the time limit right, so it's for a full day. So with 0% of the vote is David De Gea. I'm a little bit surprised about that because I thought De Gea was quite solid and he didn't really have a chance with any of the goals. So yeah, 0% for Luke Shaw. And then in third place, with 8% of the vote, Luke Shaw. And then second place, with 24% of the vote, Casemiro. And then your guys' man of the match was Lisandro Martinez with 68% of the vote, which I kind of understand because out of all our players, he was most probably the one that put up the most fight and put in the best performance. So now we'll get into the match. Obviously, it's not totally unexpected, even though I am a little bit surprised by Man United's performance. I think as a fan base, we always knew that Villa might get a bit of a new manager bounce, and that every team that plays United always ups the level anyway. So I think, obviously, with those two things combined, made Villa have a really good performance. But that doesn't really take away from the fact that we were pretty bad. I think the midfield was really poor today. There was some sloppy performances. The only one in the midfield that really showed themselves to have any fight was Casemiro. I think Eriksen was really sloppy today. The last couple of games he's looked sloppy, but I also think with Eriksen he's really missing having Fernandes in that number 10 role. I think in the European game, with Fernandes being on the right and Donny being in front of him, it didn't help him. And then with today's game, obviously having Donny in front of him again didn't help him. I just don't think they're on the same wavelengths of what Bruno and Eriksen are on. So yeah, I just thought Eriksen was really sloppy. He seemed to give the ball away quite a lot. He's long range passing was a bit all over the place today, and Donny just ghosted through the game. I really want to give Donny a chance. Like, for me, I think he needs time, and I don't think we should judge him. But going off today's performance, he was almost invisible again. I think he was slightly better than he was against Sociedad, but still, he did go through the game. There was only a few good touches again, like in the Sociedad game, but I think he didn't try and influence the game enough. Maybe with Donny, I think he might be better in the number 8 role than playing as a 10, because I think obviously we've got Bruno, and Bruno's affects the game so much because he's always looking for the ball. You know, he's got a lot of passion, a lot of fight. He's always, working hard, tracking back, doing everything for the team, and I just don't think Donny's that type of player. I think Donny might be better in the midfield too if he's going to get into the team at all, because as a backup for Fernandes, he's not influencing the game enough. Obviously, defensively, we were, even though we conceded 3 goals, we wasn't terrible. Lindelof showed his weaknesses today, his lack of strength, and the fact he's not super quick. Obviously, he's faster than Maguire, and he's the best option we've got to play next to Martinez right now. But I just don't think the game today suited him. Watkins had him on toast, because he was too strong for him, held the ball up well, and was also too quick for him. And with them also having Leon Bailey up there, I think the lack of pace of Lindelof really got caught out today. I think Martinez was good. Martinez was our one player that like tried to grab the team by the scruff of the neck and lift the performance, tried to, pass the ball out from the back, tried to at least show a bit of fight and a bit of passion, and I really enjoyed that today. The fullbacks were not great today. I just feel like they didn't affect the game as much as they normally do. The balance on the right didn't look right with Delo and Rashford, because Rashford just really looks like he doesn't enjoy playing out there. And on the left-hand side, I think if Garnacho's going to play consistently, he's going to have to work on his relationship with Luke Shaw to get those overlapping runs like you get when Rashford plays over there, or even when Sancho plays over there. Shaw seems to make more overlapping runs than he did today. I think Garnacho had a decent game. He's only young. I don't want to be too harsh on him. I think out of our forward players, he was most probably the player that tried to influence the game most and tried to at least be direct and take people on. And I did enjoy his performance in bits. I just think he was up against a good player in Matty Cash and kind of struggled. So there's that. And then Ronaldo was poor today. He should have scored. But other than that, he didn't really influence the game much. And he was just sulky and sullen. So I didn't really enjoy Ronaldo's performance today. So they're my thoughts on the game. I'm going to jump into your guys' thoughts. I put a tweet out after the game like I normally do. And this one just said, not a great performance from the lads. Only De Gea, Martinez, and to a lesser extent Garnacho can hold their heads high. To be honest, I did forget about Casemiro, because I think Casemiro did actually play pretty well in that tweet. And then it said, new manager bounce, did for us. It happens. Let's hope we beat them Thursday. I'll do my match reaction later. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll read all comments out in the video like I have been doing. And quite a lot of you guys got in touch, which I really appreciate. So the first tweet that I got was from @_Christopher Red, and he said, our players lack consistency. As much as some key players were out, Bruno, Anthony and Sancho, we still gave a poor performance. And yeah, we did have a lot of players missing, and I agree with that. But like he said, it was still a very poor performance. Even though we know we're missing those players, it just wasn't up to scratch. A lot of the players looked like they were lacking fight and belief today, which is not something we've seen since the Brentford game really, and possibly the City game. But it's not something that we've seen. It just looked like they didn't have the mentality to run today and fight as hard as Villa did. And I think that's where we came unstuck. And then @UnitedTO22 said, man, today was a weird game, to be honest. Didn't know what was happening. Everything was just going all over the place. Ball not sticking. Very ridiculous. Yeah, our touch did seem to be off today. Like, there was a few chances where, Donny got the ball and his first touch let him down. Whereas if his touch was good, we would have mostly created a few more chances. I just feel like the ball wasn't sticking. It was like bouncing off and bouncing around, and it was just poor from the lads. Then @ShoestringPodTM said, shambolic and poor from United. Thought we would never see the old United return, but today we were so off it. It was, like I said, it was a performance that was kind of on par with the Brentford game. Maybe not that bad, because at points in the game we did pass the ball well and play well. In that Brentford game we were super awful. Like today, I just think we wasn't quite on it. Also guys, check the Shoestring podcast guys out. All their content's great. Recommend you guys check them out as well. Really good stuff. And then the next tweet was off @SamuelOdaba76, and he said, if Manchester United offer the likes of Shaw, Rashford, Lindelof and Van der Beek a contract and do not sell them, especially Marcus Rashford next summer, then I will know that the club is not a serious club, and for Ronaldo it's not working and won't ever work. #Glazers out. Yeah, I kind of agree with some of those players and disagree with others. I think Shaw has been good this season. I think it was just a bit of an off game, but he was one of our better players in my eyes. Uh, Rashford was really poor. He just doesn't like playing on the right. You can see that his body language was awful. He just doesn't look like he wants to be there, and he's interested in putting a performance in when he's there. And it did make me kind of think, why not play Elanga or Palestra, give someone else a chance, and possibly put Rashford on the left or put him through the middle, because he just doesn't look comfortable there. And also, guys, everyone chucking the Glazers out tweets out there, I think you're all doing a great job. Obviously, I do try and push it as much as possible, and all you guys that are chucking the hashtag out there are doing a great job, so keep that up. Then, at Ball Tactics said, the squad has been stretched for weeks. Something like this was bound to happen. Lindelof had a poor game today. 2 of the goals came largely from his errors. Now, I do kind of agree that with the squad being so stretched, we was going to get a performance like this at some point. It's just disappointing it came today when we had a chance to move into the top 4 at least for a little while, especially if Newcastle would have lost, but they didn't. They ended up winning 4-1. So, yeah, and I agree with the Lindelof thing, to be honest. I think his weaknesses were really on show today against a team that were really up for it, and with a big strong striker. You won't hear anyone criticise that though, like they would if it was Martinez that put in that performance against Watkins. But it is what it is. And then next, at Martinez, SZN said Casemiro was our best player today. I think Paul there was trying to point out the fact that I didn't mention his name as him being able to hold his head up high in the tweet, and I do agree with it. I did kind of make a mistake there, and I apologise for that, because he was actually pretty good. And I do agree. I don't think he was our best player, but he was one of our better players, definitely. And then the last tweet was from at Anirban 04199677, and he said Casemiro, Martinez, De Gea and Garnacho. I think he means as the players who can hold their die. Yeah, again, I did forget to put Casemiro in there, so I apologise. He said, where do we start and end about Ronaldo? He needs to go. Even Elanga looks to contribute more threat than him these days. What will Roy Keane say? That's a good point. I obviously, the game wasn't on Sky Sports, so it will be interesting to hear what Keane thought about that performance from Ronaldo. And then he also said, I would like to ask the board, why did you buy Palestra? And also to Eric Ten Hag, will starting him be worse than this? Why not give youngsters a chance? I do kind of agree that why not play Palestri and at least give him a chance. I think maybe we might see Palestri in the Carabao Cup game, even maybe off the bench for half an hour, maybe not starting, but I think he might get a chance. But I do agree, because if we'd have played either Palestri or Elanga on the right wing and Rashford down the middle with Garnacho on the left, I think we'd have been a bit more fluid and had a bit more pace to the way we play, because Ronaldo's just really not doing it this season. And it's quite upsetting to me, because Ronaldo's my idol, greatest player of all time, but his forms fell off a cliff. He looks sullen and sulky and disinterested, to be honest, and it's really disappointing to see. So now, guys, we're going to jump into the player ratings. So we'll start with David De Gea. I'm going to give De Gea a 6. I know we conceded 3 goals, but I think De Gea, he couldn't really have done anything with any of the 3 goals. I think that his distribution was good again. I think most of his passes were on point. Obviously, there was one little bit where he almost got caught on the ball, where he dallied and dicked about a little bit too much, but he luckily got away with that, so I'll let that slide. That's why he still gets the 6. I think he was actually really good today on corners, coming out claiming crosses, which is something that we've not seen consistently from him, so I hope he keeps that up. And for me, yeah, it's a 6. Then we go on to Delo. Today I'm going to give Delo a 5. I think it wasn't his best game. He has had good games and then worse games this season. I think this was one of his like less steady games. I think having Rashford on that right hand side didn't help him at all, because Rashford really wasn't helping with the tracking back. And I think that's where the first goal kind of come from, because Lindelof ended up having to step out, and then with his lack of pace, Bailey then got in behind, and obviously they scored. I think, and today's his crossing wasn't the best. A lot of his crosses were from deeper, and on a stranger angle than being on the byline. And I think a lot of them just hit their defenders, and he didn't look great. So that's why Delo gets a 5 from me. Lindelof, even though he made mistakes and he showed his weaknesses today, I don't want to be too harsh. I think I'd give him a 5. I think that he obviously came up against a forward that was really up for the game, playing under a new manager. You know, Watkins is a decent forward. He's got a lot of strength, quite a bit of pace, and they're things that Lindelof does struggle against. He's not the quickest. Obviously, he's quicker than Maguire, but he's not the quickest, and he's also not the most physically blessed player. He's more of a cultured defender. He likes to play the ball out from the back. He likes time on the ball, and I just don't think that Villa gave him that today. I think that he struggled against Watkins and also against the pace of Bailey. So I'd give him a 5, maybe a 4, but I don't want to be too harsh. I'll say 5. And then we move on to Martinez. For me, Martinez was our man of the match. I'm going to give him a 7. He's the only player out of the squad that actually gets more than a 6. I think that, he really tried to take the game by the scruff of the neck. He showed lots of personality, some real fight. He's one of the few players in the squad with a really elite winning mentality. He wants to win, and he gives it his all. And he did try to rough up some of Aston Villa's players, tried to knock them off the game, and I do like to see that in a defender. So I just think out of our outfield players, he was most probably the best. So that's why he gets a 7 and man of the match for me. Next we move on to Luke Shaw. I'm going to give Shaw 5.5. I think today wasn't his best game. I've given the 5.5 because obviously he was crucial into at least us getting the goal that made it 1-1. The shot obviously wildly deflected and went in, but at least he took a pop and it went in. I think he didn't overlap as much today, and like I said before, I just don't think he has the same understanding with Garnacho of when he needs Garnacho to move inside a little bit so he can overlap or drop a little bit deeper to help him with the overlaps, or when to hold on to the ball and pass it through while he's coming on the overlap. So he didn't seem to overlap as much today, and I think that's the biggest part of Shaw's game that makes him effective. So it was just not his best performance, so that's why he's getting a 5.5. Now we'll move into the midfield. Casemiro gets a 6. I think defensively he was okay. He was pretty good. He made a couple of last-ditch challenges that prevented us from going further behind. His passing was pretty decent. Some of his spreads of play and switches were really good. That's why for me he gets a 6. He's second in my man of the match, to be honest. I think he was our second best player, and again he's another player who to me has elite mentality. He wants to win. He's a fighter. He's he tries to wind up the opposition players, tries to get in the head a little bit. He tries to really impose himself on the game, and so yeah, he gets a 6. The best of our midfielders, definitely. Now we move on to Eriksen. I'm going to have to give Eriksen a 4 today. Love him as a player, but I do think he has been a little bit sloppy in the last couple of games. Today, his passing was a bit all over the place, and I think not having Fernandes in front of him really takes away something from his game. I think the link-up he has with Fernandes and the way that they can interchange and move around kind of helps him a lot in that deeper midfield role that he's been playing. And with him not having that there, I just think he's been a little bit sloppy in the last couple of games. And he did look tired, so that's why he gets a 4 from me. Next we move on to Donny. I don't want to be harsh on Donny. I really want Donny to get a chance, but today I'm going to give him a 3. Ghosted through the game, didn't affect the play much. He does make a lot of like good runs and that players don't seem to notice, and he does always try to offer himself, but he just didn't affect the game. His touch was a little off. I think he is seriously lacking match fitness, and I want to give him, chances to prove himself before I write him off as a United player, because he's not had, even though he's been at the club for a couple of years now, he's really not had that consistent chance. So I want to at least give him one more chance before I make my mind up and say we need to wash our hands of him. So yeah, like I said, poor performance today, give him a 3, but I don't want to beat the boy down, because I think he does deserve to get a chance to prove that he's good enough or not. And if he's not good enough, he's a nice guy. We just have to say farewell and take a loss on him. But I want to at least give him one more opportunity to get a chance. Then next we go to Rashford. Rashford 4, really poor today. Doesn't like playing out on the right. You can just tell. Yeah, every time he got the ball, he just looked like he wasn't bothered. It looked like he couldn't be bothered tracking back and helping his defender. He didn't affect the game loads, and it was just a meh type of performance from him. Obviously, I think that's the thing with Rashford though. You either get a world beater or meh. You don't get, an in-between steady performance from him. He's either setting the world on fire or he's a damp squib. There's just no in-between with him, and today he was just a damp squib. And you can tell he just doesn't want to be on the right. And I'm hoping that Anthony will be back, maybe for the Carabao Cup game, and if not for Fulham, because I just don't think Rashford suits on the right, and we haven't got loads of depth there. We need Anthony to be playing. And so then we move over to the left to Garnacho. I'm going to give Garnacho a 5.5, maybe a 6, but I think 5.5 is fair. I don't want to be too harsh on him because he's a youngster, and I think out of our attacking players, you've got to admit he was most probably our best. He tried to at least affect the game, be direct, take his man on. He just came up against a fullback that had the better of him, and you've got to expect that to happen. He's only a young kid at the minute. He's still got some growing to do, bit of meat to put on, but he does look like a serious talent, and I hope he carries on getting chances. Maybe not starting every game, but at least definitely getting half an hour off the bench every game or every 2 games, because I think there is a real player there. So yeah, and then we move on to Ronaldo. I don't even know what score to give him, because I hate being this harsh to Ronaldo, but I'm going to give him a 2. I think he missed a gilt-edged chance with that header that Emi Martinez saved. Either side of the goal, it goes in, and he just nutted it straight at him. I just think he looks really off colour. Maybe age is getting to him, but I do know that he's a great player and he's still got it in him to put on great performances, but I just don't think he's invested in the project and that he wants to be here. And I think that's coming over in his bad attitude and his sullen, sulky behaviour. And I just don't like to see it from a player that I love so much. Now we're going to go on to the subs. Obviously, Malacia came on for Luke Shaw for the last 20 odd minutes. I think that he was okay. I'm going to give him a 5. I think he was good, but I don't think he affected the game that much. I don't want to be super harsh. I don't think he gets a 6. Then we move on to Elanga. Alanga again, he played okay. He actually, I think he suits like an impact sub type of player, Alanga. I don't think he's ready to be starting games, but he did come on and offer us a bit more on the right. At least he gave us work rate. He tracked back. He tried to make things happen. It didn't come off, but he did try, and I'm going to give him a 5.5. I don't think he was perfect, but at least he gave us more option than Rashford did on that side. And then, if I remember rightly, the other sub was Martial. Martial, I'm going to give 5.5 as well. I think, he tried. I think we are a much better team with Martial in it, but I think Ronaldo needs to not be in the team to get the best out of Martial. I think he did try some things, but it just didn't come off. But he did try to influence the game, and he at least tried to get on the ball. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 5.5. So that's all from me, guys. Obviously not the best performance, quite disappointing. It's a shame that we haven't been able to take a tighter grip on top four, but obviously we don't need to give up hope yet. I think once we've got a fully fit squad again, we should do better. I'm hoping we'll win the Fulham game. That's going to be a tough game, but I'm hoping that when we play in the league next, we will win that game. And I'm hoping for Thursday night against Villa that we absolutely trash them, that we come out a different team, that Ten Hag's going to put the rocket up a few players and make them put more effort in and perform better in the next game. So yeah, thanks for watching. Do me a favour, follow me on Twitter, guys. Also like the video, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. In the descriptions of the videos, I do put all my socials on there because I'm on Instagram now. I've got a Facebook page, I'm on Twitter. So yeah, just follow me on all the socials, and thanks for tuning in, guys. See you on the next one. Bye.